August 17, 1993. Los Angeles Police Department, Robbery Homicide Division, 9:23 a.m. Detective Rosabel Ferrufino sat across from a 13-year-old boy named Jordan Chandler and his father, Evan Chandler, reviewing a statement that would destroy Michael Jackson's career and change the entertainment industry forever. "I need you to tell me again in your own words what happened," Detective Ferrufino said gently. Jordan, visibly uncomfortable, repeated allegations that Michael Jackson, the biggest pop star in the world, had engaged in inappropriate conduct with him during sleepovers at Jackson's Neverland Ranch estate in Santa Barbara County, California. The allegations were shocking. Michael Jackson, who'd built his image around childhood innocence and Peter Pan fantasies, was being accused of behavior that, if proven true, would make him a criminal. But this case would never go to trial. Within 4 months, it would be settled for $23 million, one of the largest out-of-court settlements in American legal history. And for the next 16 years, the question would haunt Michael Jackson: why would an innocent man pay $23 million to make accusations go away? The 1993 Chandler case wasn't just about what allegedly happened between Michael Jackson and one boy. It was about a pattern of behavior that investigators had been noticing for years. Adult male celebrities spending enormous amounts of time alone with young boys, hosting sleepovers, sharing beds, giving expensive gifts. Was this innocent friendship, as Jackson claimed, or was it something darker? This is the story of what really happened at Neverland Ranch in the allegations that were made, the evidence that was gathered, the settlement that ended the criminal investigation, and the questions that were never answered. Based entirely on court documents, police reports, and sworn testimony, this is what the public record shows about the case that began Michael Jackson's fall from grace. Part 1. How they met. May 19, 15 months before the allegations. According to court documents filed in the civil case Chandler vs. Jackson, Jordan Chandler first met Michael Jackson in May 1992 at a car rental agency where Jordan's stepfather worked. Jordan was 12 years old. Jackson was 33. Jackson, according to the court filings, immediately took interest in Jordan. He gave the boy his phone number and invited him to visit Neverland Ranch, Jackson's 2,700-acre estate in Santa Ynez Valley, California. Court records indicate that over the following months, Jackson and Jordan developed what Jackson's representatives described as a friendship. Jackson invited Jordan and his family to Neverland multiple times. He took Jordan to Las Vegas. He gave Jordan expensive gifts, jewelry, video game systems, clothing. According to testimony later given by Jordan's mother, June Chandler, Jackson called Jordan constantly, sometimes multiple times per day. The phone bills entered as evidence in the civil case showed hundreds of calls between Jackson's residence and the Chandler home. In February 1993, according to court documents, Jackson began inviting Jordan to sleep over at Neverland, initially with Jordan's mother present, later without any parent supervision. June Chandler's testimony indicated that she trusted Jackson completely. "I thought he was a wonderful person," she stated in her deposition. "He seemed so gentle and kind. I never imagined anything inappropriate could happen." But Jordan's father, Evan Chandler, divorced from June, was growing increasingly suspicious. Court records show that Evan Chandler confronted Michael Jackson in May 1993, demanding to know why Jackson was spending so much time with his son. Jackson's response, according to Evan Chandler's testimony, was that Jordan was special, that they had a deep bond, that their friendship was pure and innocent. Evan Chandler didn't believe him, and in July 1993, according to court filings, Evan Chandler took Jordan to a dentist appointment, administered sodium amytal, a sedative sometimes used in dentistry, and questioned Jordan about his relationship with Michael Jackson. What Jordan allegedly told his father during that conversation would trigger a criminal investigation that nearly sent Michael Jackson to prison. Part 2. The allegations. July 1993. Jordan Chandler makes his claims. According to the sworn declaration Jordan Chandler gave to police in August 1993, portions of which were later made public through court filings, Jordan alleged that Michael Jackson had engaged in inappropriate conduct with him during sleepovers at Neverland Ranch and at Jackson's Century City apartment. The specific allegations, detailed in the police report, claim that the alleged conduct began gradually, starting with what Jordan described as innocent affection that progressively became more inappropriate over several months. Jordan's statement to police, according to court documents, included detailed descriptions of Jackson's bedroom, his private quarters, and specific incidents that allegedly occurred during overnight stays. These allegations were serious enough that on August 17, 1993, the Los Angeles Police Department opened a criminal investigation. Detective Ferrufino was assigned as lead investigator. On August 21, 1993, news of the investigation leaked to the media. Within hours it was international news. Michael Jackson under investigation for child abuse, headlines screamed. Jackson's response was immediate and forceful. Through his attorney Howard Weitzman, Jackson issued a statement. The allegations are completely false. Mr. Jackson is the victim of an extortion attempt. The charges will be proven to be unfounded. Jackson's statement claimed that Evan Chandler had demanded $20 million from Jackson in exchange for not going public with allegations. When Jackson refused to pay, according to Jackson's version, Chandler went to police. Court documents later revealed that there had indeed been negotiations between Evan Chandler's attorney and Jackson's representatives before the police report was filed. Evan Chandler's attorney Barry Rothman had drafted a proposal demanding money and a film production deal. Jackson's team characterized this as extortion. Chandler's team characterized it as an attempt to settle a legitimate grievance. Who was telling the truth? That question would never be definitively answered, because the case never went to trial. Part 3. The Investigation. August-November 1993. Police search for evidence. The criminal investigation into Michael Jackson proceeded on two parallel tracks. The Los Angeles Police Department handled the allegations related to incidents in Los Angeles, while the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Department handled allegations related to Neverland Ranch. Court documents show that investigators interviewed dozens of witnesses, former Neverland employees, members of Jordan Chandler's family, other children who'd spent time with Jackson. Some witnesses corroborated concerning patterns. Several former Neverland security guards gave sworn statements, later filed in court proceedings, claiming they had observed Jackson in compromising situations with young boys. One security guard, Ralph Chacon, provided testimony that he had witnessed Jackson in a shower with a young boy. Another guard, Kasim Abdul, stated in his deposition that he had seen Jackson swimming nude with young boys in the Neverland pool. However, these witnesses' credibility was later questioned. Defense attorneys noted that some of these guards had been fired by Jackson and might have financial motives for making accusations. Several had attempted to sell their stories to tabloid media. Other witnesses defended Jackson completely. Macaulay Culkin, the child actor who was one of Jackson's closest friends, gave a sworn statement that nothing inappropriate had ever occurred during his many sleepovers with Jackson. Other children who'd spent time at Neverland gave similar statements. The most significant piece of evidence came in December 1993, when a judge ordered Michael Jackson to submit to a body search. According to Jordan Chandler's statement to police, he could describe specific markings on Jackson's body, markings that would only be visible if Jordan had seen Jackson unclothed. The search was conducted by Santa Barbara authorities. Photographs were taken. According to court documents, Jordan's description did match certain characteristics, though the exact details were sealed by the court and have never been made fully public. Jackson's attorney would later claim the description was not accurate enough to prove anything. But authorities apparently felt the evidence was significant, because the criminal investigation continued. Part 4. The Settlement. January 1994. The case that never went to trial. As the criminal investigation continued, the Chandler family filed a civil lawsuit against Michael Jackson seeking monetary damages. This created a complex legal situation. Jackson faced both a potential criminal trial, which could send him to prison, and a civil trial, which could cost him millions. Jackson's legal team argued that fighting both cases simultaneously was unfair. Anything Jackson said in the civil case could be used against him in the criminal case. They filed motions to delay the civil trial until after the criminal case was resolved. But in January 1994, everything changed. Jackson's legal team approached the Chandler family with a settlement offer. The exact amount has never been officially confirmed, but court documents and credible media reports indicate the settlement was approximately $23 million, with $15 million going to Jordan Chandler, and the remaining amount divided among Jordan's parents and their attorneys. In exchange for the payment, the Chandler family agreed to withdraw their civil lawsuit and to refuse to cooperate with the criminal investigation. This second part was crucial. Under California law, prosecutors cannot force a victim to testify. Without Jordan Chandler's testimony, the criminal case became nearly impossible to prove. The prosecution's entire case depended on Jordan's credibility as a witness. On September 21, 1994, Los Angeles District Attorney Gil Garcetti announced that his office would not file criminal charges against Michael Jackson. Without the cooperation of the alleged victim, Garcetti stated, "We cannot prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt." The Santa Barbara County District Attorney reached the same conclusion. No criminal charges were ever filed. Michael Jackson was legally cleared, but in the court of public opinion, the $23 million settlement looked like an admission of guilt. Part 5. The UN answered questions. Why would an innocent man pay $23 million? This question haunted Michael Jackson for the rest of his life. Critics argued that no innocent person would pay such an enormous sum to settle false allegations. The settlement, they claimed, proved Jackson was guilty. Jackson's defenders offered several counter-arguments. First, they noted that fighting the case would have been even more expensive. A lengthy trial would have cost millions in legal fees, would have destroyed Jackson's career during the proceedings, and would have resulted in explicit testimony about the allegations being broadcast worldwide. Even if Jackson won, the damage would have been catastrophic. Second, they pointed out that civil settlements are extremely common and don't indicate guilt. Wealthy defendants frequently settle cases, even cases they could win, simply because settlement is cheaper and less damaging than trial. Third, they noted that Jackson maintained his innocence consistently. In a statement released after the settlement, Jackson said, "I have been forced to submit to a dehumanizing and humiliating examination. It was the most humiliating ordeal of my life. But I took this step to resolve this matter and to avoid a long, drawn-out trial that would have hurt my career and my family." But critics remained unconvinced. The Smoking Gun website later published the settlement agreement, which showed that Jackson had paid $23 million but admitted no wrongdoing. The agreement included a confidentiality clause preventing the Chandlers from discussing the case publicly. One particularly troubling aspect, according to child protection advocates, the settlement did not prohibit Michael Jackson from continuing to spend time alone with other children. There was no agreement that Jackson would change his behavior or submit to supervision. This meant that if the allegations were true, Jackson was free to continue the same pattern of behavior with other children. And according to later allegations, that's exactly what happened. Part 6. What police found at Neverland. The 2003 search warrant documents. In 2003, when Michael Jackson faced new allegations, the Gavin Arvizo case that would lead to the 2005 trial, police conducted another search of Neverland Ranch. The search warrant documents from that raid were later made public, and they revealed what police had found during searches of Jackson's property in both 1993 and 2003. According to the search warrant inventory filed with Santa Barbara Superior Court, investigators found books and magazines. Police recovered numerous books containing images of nude or partially clothed children. These were art photography books, legal to own, not classified as child pornography under California law. But according to the warrant documents, prosecutors argued these materials showed Jackson's grooming pattern and interest in children's bodies. Personal photographs. The warrant indicated police found photographs of young boys in various states of dress and undress. Defense attorneys later argued these were innocent photos of children swimming at Neverland's pool. Prosecutors argued they showed inappropriate interest. Letters and notes. According to court filings, police found correspondence between Jackson and various young boys, including notes that prosecutors characterized as love letters. Defense attorneys argued the notes reflected innocent friendship written in Jackson's childlike communication style. Bedroom setup. The search warrant described Jackson's bedroom suite in detail, a two-story private space with multiple rooms, entertainment systems, and what the warrant described as an elaborate security system that alerted Jackson if anyone approached his bedroom area. Critically, police did not find actual child pornography images depicting minors engaged in sexual conduct, which would have been illegal and would have resulted in immediate charges. What they found was material that was legal to possess but that prosecutors argued showed an inappropriate interest in children. The 1993 investigation reportedly found similar materials, according to sources quoted in media reports at the time, though those search warrant documents were never made fully public. Part 7. The aftermath. What happened to Jordan Chandler? After the settlement, Jordan Chandler essentially disappeared from public life. The confidentiality agreement prevented him from discussing the case, and the Chandler family used the settlement money to relocate and build new lives away from media scrutiny. In 2009, when Michael Jackson died, some media outlets reported that Jordan Chandler might come forward and recant his allegations. These reports claimed Jordan had been pressured by his father and wanted to tell the truth. However, no such recantation ever occurred. Jordan Chandler has maintained silence about the case for over 30 years. In 2013, Jordan's father, Evan Chandler, died by suicide. Some Jackson defenders claimed this proved Evan had fabricated the allegations and couldn't live with the guilt. Others noted that Evan had been suffering from serious health problems and financial difficulties, and that his death had no clear connection to the Jackson case. The relationship between Jordan and his father had reportedly been strained for years. Court documents from a 2006 lawsuit showed that Jordan had filed a restraining order against Evan, claiming his father was violent and unstable. What happened to Michael Jackson's reputation? The 1993 allegations fundamentally changed how the public viewed Michael Jackson. Before 1993, Jackson was seen as an eccentric but essentially harmless figure, a talented musician who'd never grown up. After 1993, Jackson was viewed with suspicion. His continued pattern of befriending young boys, having them stay overnight at Neverland, giving them expensive gifts, behavior that had seemed quirky before, now seemed potentially predatory. Major corporations began distancing themselves from Jackson. Pepsi ended their endorsement deal. Sony became more cautious about promoting his music. Tour attendance declined. Jackson became increasingly isolated at Neverland, surrounded by a smaller and smaller circle of advisors and friends. His behavior became more erratic. His appearance changed dramatically due to extensive plastic surgery. His financial situation deteriorated despite his enormous wealth. And in 2003, new allegations would surface, this time from a boy named Gavin Arvizo. These allegations would lead to the criminal trial that Jordan Chandler's settlement had prevented in 19. Epilogue: What we know and don't know. The truth about the 1993 case. Based on the public record, court documents, police reports, sworn testimony, and credible journalism, here's what we can say with confidence about the 1993 case. What is documented? Jordan Chandler made specific allegations about Michael Jackson's conduct. A criminal investigation found some corroborating evidence. Multiple witnesses gave statements supporting various aspects of the allegations. Other witnesses completely denied anything inappropriate occurred. Michael Jackson paid $23 million to settle the civil case. No criminal charges were ever filed. Jordan Chandler has never recanted his allegations. What remains disputed? Whether the allegations were true or fabricated, whether the settlement indicated guilt or was a business decision, whether Evan Chandler pressured Jordan to make false claims, whether Michael Jackson engaged in criminal conduct. The case illustrates several troubling realities. First, child abuse cases are extraordinarily difficult to prove. They typically occur in private settings with no witnesses. Evidence is often limited to the victim's testimony, and victims, especially children, can be unreliable witnesses due to trauma, manipulation, or false memories. Second, wealthy defendants can use settlements to avoid accountability. Whether Jackson was guilty or innocent, the $23 million payment ensured the truth would never be definitively established in court. Third, the criminal justice system failed. If Jackson was innocent, he should have had the opportunity to clear his name in a trial. If he was guilty, he should have faced criminal consequences. Instead, money prevented either outcome. Fourth, the entertainment industry protected Jackson. Despite serious allegations, Jackson continued to perform, record music, and maintain his career. The industry valued his commercial success over concerns about his behavior. The 1993 case didn't end Michael Jackson's career, but it marked the beginning of his decline, a decline that would continue through the 2005 trial, through increasing financial problems, through deteriorating physical and mental health, until his death in 2009. What really happened at Neverland in 19 we'll probably never know with absolute certainty. The settlement ensured that, but the public record shows this. Allegations were made, evidence was gathered, patterns were documented, and Michael Jackson paid $23 million to make it all go away. That's not proof of guilt, but it's not proof of innocence either. It's just proof that in America, money can buy silence, even when the allegations involve children.